What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for Power Book 2 Ghost. This is season 1, right, you guys? Is this season 1 of season 1, right? Should be season 6, but it's season 1, I guess. I think it's season 1, episode 1, titled The Stranger. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this episode review. Man, I did not realize that I had really tanned as much as I have this summer. This is the first time that I've actually tanned like this, where you can see the different colors in my skin. But without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into this episode review. And I will say this on a trial basis for now. All right, you guys, so the episode, it opens up and we see Tariq. So Tariq is at, what's the name of the school? Stanford, I think that's what it is. And he's getting ready for this meeting that he has to go to at 10:30 with the dean. And then we also see Tasha. Now Tasha is being escorted, to the courthouse so she can go to her arraignment. And the guard, she's mean as hell. Because she says, Tasha didn't kill anybody. Looking at her, she can look at her nails and everything and tell she didn't kill anybody. And then she's saying her husband beat her. And the guard was like, girl, you are not a battered woman. We'll go ahead and sell that to the court and, see if they believe it. Because I don't. So then we also see Tariq. So Tariq has not gone to his meeting with the dean. He actually went to the courthouse where Yaz and Big Mama are there. And they are greeted by Tamika, who shows up in her good wig. So Tamika is Tasha's lawyer. And, Tamika is saying that when it comes down to Tasha, because Tariq is asking if she's going to get bail because he brought money. She says, well, we don't know just yet. But what Tasha does have to do is she has to, get on the stand and say that she did kill Ghost, but she did it in self-defense. So then, she asked Tariq, is he okay with, the fact that, she's going to have to talk negatively about Ghost on the stand. He says, yeah, I really don't care. But the thing that bothered me was, I'm like, but Yaz, I get Tariq is, 17, 16 maybe? But Yaz is a child, so you're going to sit there and talk about both parents, especially the daddy in front. Okay, whatever. So then we see Tamika and the prosecutor. So they're both giving their reasoning for why, Tasha should get They're both giving their reasoning for why Tasha should get bail versus why she shouldn't get bail. Now the DA is saying she should be denied bail because, she committed murder, and that's it. But Tamika's like, hold on. My client was abused by her husband. He was this, and then the judge like, so you want us to believe that the DNC candidate was this bad person? She says, yes, he killed people. He did this, he did that, da. And, the judge tells, the prosecutor that you got to get your shit together, basically. And Tamika was like, thank you. She says, but not so fast. What's going to have to happen is your client is going to go back to jail, so bail is denied. So then we see Tamika, Tasha, and the prosecutor, they're meeting, and they're discussing what to charge Tasha with. So then Tamika, she pulls out like all the dead photos, the photos of like Lakeisha, the girl from season 1 of Power, the first episode. I can't remember what her name was, and some other people that had been killed. And Tamika asked Tasha, did she think he killed those people? I'm like, well, he killed 2 of them. One of them you shot in the forehead. But okay. So then we see Tariq. So he makes it to his meeting with Simon and I think her name was Ida, the dean. So she was like, look, her little homie, you're late. As black people, when it comes to being around his type, we got to show that we got to, make ourselves look one step better than them. So, he was telling her, he has family issues, and, then, they say, they talk to him, and they tell him in order for him to stay at Stanford, they're going to put him in a room with a new roommate by the name of Ezekiel, And what he's gonna have to do is he's gonna have to tutor him because I guess he's a star basketball player. And in order for Tariq to stay at the school, Zeke has to pass. They want him to tutor. He's like, what's subject? They said all of them. I'm like, wow. So you want this boy to do his studies and do the work of this guys as well. Speaking of which, I mean that is kind of fucked up. I mean I've had it happen, I saw it happen in high school. My neighbor that lived across the street from me, star football player at his high school, people did his homework for him, and when he got to college, it's kind of about the same thing, but he never went pro. Because that was always the hope for him to go pro, but he hurt himself so many times. And even one of my good friends in high school that I was in the class with, we would do the same thing for him, help him with his work. Technically, we were doing his work. They would put us in groups, and we would be doing his work. I'm like, why are we doing this? This makes no sense. So I got to do my work plus whatever. So then we see Tariq. So Tariq is going to go meet the minority student counselor, and he's introduced to he's met by this new girl. Her name is Lauren, who was portrayed by the girl Paige Hurd, who also plays on The Oval, and she's also been in Beauty Shop. She's been in some other things. So we also find out with Tariq and Lauren that it's just a few black people at their school, so they're pretty much the minority. Wow. Well, my college was kind of like that, but we did have black people. It just wasn't as many. But let's move on. All right, so then we do see Tariq. So Tariq meets with, I didn't get her name. So for now, she's gonna be called the minority student counselor. He's meeting with her, and she's talking to him about the school and the courses and everything. But he does have a question for her, like, why am I meeting with you? Because I went to school with primarily white people anyway, so why am I meeting with you? And she says, well, maybe the dean thought that your personal circumstances require support. He was like, what do you mean? She was like, the fact that your dad was dead and that your dad is dead and that your mom is on court in trial for his murder. So then he starts to talk to her about, this course that she teaches and him wanting to graduate in 3 years. And she says, why do you just got here, so why are you so eager to graduate so early? And he says, well, because I have to take care of my mom, my sister, and my grandmother. So then she gives him a book, and she tells him you have to read this book, and it'll be a verbal entrance exam. So then we see Tamika. So Tamika is talking to Tasha, and she tells her that, the prosecutor and the DA, they've agreed to 4 years probation with no jail time. Now, Tamika is cool with that, but Tamika also has a question because Quentin said that Tasha rushed him out of the door as if she was on the schedule. So she's like, how did you know that at that particular time that James was going to be by himself when he died? And she says, did someone else tell you, did someone else give you the information about him? And she says, if you're protecting someone, Tasha, you have to tell me, because Tamika is not here for perjury at all. So the minute she mentioned Tariq's name, Tasha told her she's fired. So then when Tamika's leaving, Tamika calls Tariq to tell Tariq that Tasha fired her. I'm like, are y'all trying to make her, because the way she was walking, but she was hunched over, she was giving that Olivia Pope walk in that white coat, but I'm like, you hunched over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, so you're not really giving us Olivia Pope vibes, but I get where y'all was going with it. But she tells Tariq that Tasha fired her because she won't tell who gave her this information. So she's done, and he might want to find her another lawyer. So then we see Method Man's character by the name of Davis. I didn't get his last name, but his first name is Davis. He's in court. He's, talking about his client. And he was talking about, does his client look like he needs money? I'm like, he might not look like he needs money, but homeboy does look like he's a little, he's missing some rocks. He, look like his elevator might not ding. He doesn't look on the up and up. So then after the court is over, Tariq goes up to meet Davis, and he wants to hire him. And, Davis told him how much it costs to retain him as a lawyer. When he said $500,000, I'm like, shit, I'm sorry, mama. Where the fuck would we come up with $500,000 fucking dollars to get you out of it? But I mean, if you gotta do it, you gotta do it. So then we see Big Mama. So Big Mama, she's talking to Tariq, and she's telling Tariq that she wants him to talk to her. And he's trying to go through Tasha's books with the daycare because he's looking for that stripper that was dealing the drugs for Tasha in the club. So then Tasha calls. Yaz talked to her, Big Mama talked to her, and then Tariq came down. Now Tariq wanted to go upstairs to talk to her, and Big Mama's like, "Why can't I hear what you're saying, but the guards can hear what you're saying?" So then Tariq goes upstairs. He asks Tasha, "So why did you fire Tamika?" And she couldn't really say because the call is monitored. And he says that they need to get her a new lawyer. And she says, "Well, I have a public defender." So then he starts to ask her. I can't remember what the homegirl's name was, but he says, "What about the girl that had the job at night where she would come and get her baby late?" And Tasha tells him, like, "Don't worry about that, Tariq. You need to focus on school. Don't worry about nothing else but school." And I'm like, you talking to a brick wall with that one. So then the minority student director, she's meeting with this guy named Jabari, and he's asking her, like, "Why do I have a new interview on my desk?" And it's Tariq, and he's kind of feeling some type of way about Tariq, and he's feeling some type of way about Tariq. The fact that he was just in high school 2 weeks ago and now he's in college. Which I'm on the same page with that too. Like, how did he go from high school to college without a high school diploma or even a G? Maybe he got a GED. Who the fuck knows? But Jabari says that he'll meet with Tariq. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So next we see Tariq. So Tariq is actually meeting up with that stripper again. I don't remember her name, and he's asking her if she want to make some extra money, and she says, "Tariq, I told your mama that the block is hot around her." He says, "Well, my mama's in jail right now, and it's not for selling drugs. It's because they think she shot my dad." So she says, like, "Damn, a bitch really gotta watch television." So she says, "You know what? I'll help you out, but you gotta have your own product." So then Tariq goes back to his room, and he sees his old roommate from Choke there, Braden. And, they're talking, and, Braden, now I thought Braden didn't have any money in the last installment of Power, but now his family has built stuff at the school, a pool and everything. He also did mention Effie, and then we do see Tariq go to visit Effie to get some product from Effie, and she tells him that if he wants to talk, that she's there to talk. He says, "Why would I trust you?" She says, "Tariq, what I did back at Choke, that had nothing to do with you personally. That was because you did it just for the fun of it. I was doing it because I couldn't afford the books at the school." So he takes the products from her and he says, "We even for right now." So then we see Tariq. So he's late to his verbal exam with Jabari, this guy named Oliver, and I can't remember what the woman's name is. Again, we'll get them everybody's names down pat in a week's time or two. Who knows? So he's talking to him about the book. He said he didn't enjoy the book, but then they asked him a question about the end of the book, and he had to tell them that he didn't even finish the book. So then we see Jabari, Old Girl, and Oliver. They're talking. Oliver's not feeling him, however, but it seems like Jabari and whatever her name is, they're advocating for him because they talking about he has a lot going on. He has a lot going on. His mom is on trial for his dad's death, and his dad is dead. So then we do see the public defender. She goes to talk to Tasha. And I'm like, why would Tasha get a public defender? Well, she ain't got no money. That's why. So the public defender has a heavy caseload. And then Tasha asked the public defender, can she get her the same deal that Tamika got her? And she was like, I'm not familiar with that deal. But at the same time that she's talking to the public defender, the prosecutor comes in and tells her that that deal is out of the window now that the ballistics report comes back and there's no way that Tasha killed James. And then the public defender's like, well, if you know that my client didn't kill him, why is she still here? And they were like, because of the shit that because one, she's lied. The shit that she's done, like, they feel like she's holding, she's accomplice to someone else, which she is. Because they say the person that killed Ghost is between 5'11" and 6 feet tall. So the prosecutor says, if you give us a name, we're good. So she says Andre. I'm like, girl, you are so fucking stupid. Why do you want to say Andre was a killer? That can be proven that he wasn't. You do remember Andre got arrested and went to jail and died in jail. So they have his clothes. So you're kind of fucked. And then, didn't Andre punch Blanc in the fucking face? He did. Andre punched Blanca in the face before the gunshots went out. So even if they talk, so even with you saying that, they can go talk to Detective Rodriguez and ask her what happened. She was there. I don't know what Tasha's thinking. I really don't know what she's thinking. So then we see Mock and Sachs with the guy from the DNC. His name is Steven. So they're talking about the case, how it went from a federal case to now a local case. Like, how does that make sense? And, Sachs is talking about the fact that Ghost roughed Tasha up the day before. And so what it is with Steven and Mock, they wanted to go back to a federal court case. They want to, and what they want to do is they want to keep the dirty aspects of James out of the courtroom. So what they want to do is they want to charge Tasha with his murder under the Kingpin statute, and they have an arrest warrant to do so. But again, Sachs is not really feeling that shit. And that's so funny that Sachs is not feeling this, as crooked as you are and the shit that you were doing with Andre. But okay. So then we see Tariq. So Tariq goes into his room and Zeke is in there banging some girl out. So then we also later see Tariq. So he and Zeke go to meet the family that's having a party for Zeke. And I don't know Tariq was just in a bad spot. He first walked in on Zeke having sex with that girl. Then he walks in on Zeke's cousin, Kane, getting head from a girl. So then, Zeke is introducing him to the family. He's introduced to cousin Drew. I think that the other girl's name was Diana. I'm not 100% sure. And then Kane, who came outside with the girl that was giving him head in the bathroom. And then he got checked by the girl's boyfriend. And then in the melee, we meet Mary J. Blige's character named Monet. And then we get a little bit of Tahina. Is that what the family's name is? They're Puerto Rican and Dominican. Well, no. I said that all wrong. They're black and Puerto Rican. Black and Puerto Rican. I think that's right. I'm going to pause right here because I'm tired of talking for right now. All right, you guys. So I know this review is all over the place, unfortunately. But the episode was kind of all over the place for me. It wasn't a bad episode. It just was kind of, actually it was slow as shit to me, to be quite honest with you. I started watching this shit yesterday. I stopped watching it 3 times yesterday, and then I just watched it fully today. But here was the interesting thing in this episode that caught me for a complete loop. So Sachs is meeting with his family. They're having dinner. They're congratulating him on being, what is he again? I forgot what he is. But we found out a little backstory about Sachs. So Sachs was actually born a female by the name of Nancy. I'm like, when the heck? Here's the thing that threw me off with that shit. Because then we just see in last season, that episode where Tommy broke into the house. Wasn't he on the couch jacking off? I know, never mind. I'm going to shut up on that part right there. Now, I will say that his family, however, is mad motherfucking disrespectful. Now, the daddy got up to gave a toast to Kemper Anderson or Andrew Sachs, whatever the fuck his middle name is. And the family says, "Hear, hear to Nancy." I'm like, y'all bitches are disrespectful. If his pronoun is he, him, why are you saying she, her? If his pronoun is he, him, his, be respectful. I would have slapped the shit out of them. Now, one of his brothers wants for Sachs to come back to the firm as a general counselor, but he's like, I got my big cushy job. Why would I do that? So then we later see Sachs. So Sachs is talking to Tamika, and they're talking about Tasha. Now, Tamika doesn't want to talk about Tasha, because of the confidentiality clause. But he's, Sax is like, but you're not her attorney anymore. But she's like, I'm still holding on to that. So then Sax gives out a hypothetical question, which Tamika called bullshit on it. And the hypothetical was, you remember, guys, that Sax was in Truth nightclub last season with a gun. Tariq saw him. And so Tamika's like, so somebody got you by the balls. You are 100% correct about that. Tamika tells him, you know what, Sax, get the fuck out. I don't know you. I was like, exactly. Tamika, you've been burned by him how many times? I don't know why she feels the need that she thinks she can trust him. So then we see Tariq and Brayden. So Brayden and Tariq are at the club. Brayden is getting a dance from a stripper, asking her, does she accept credit cards? I'm like, oh my God. But I have to remember he's young. So Tariq is doing business with the stripper. I don't remember what her name was. So then the next morning we see Tariq. So Tariq is texting Big Mama. I don't remember what Big Mama said. I know he texted Effie about his cut for the product. He was texting, and also Lauren texted him to meet up for coffee. Now let's talk about Kane. So you guys remember the guy that was checking Kane about his girlfriend? Well, Kane went to that nigga's apartment and shot the fuck out of him. And I mean, he was dead, and then he shot him in the face. I'm like, in the head. I'm like, but damn, the nigga was already dead. But okay. Whatever. I don't know why I keep wheezing. That's weird that I keep wheezing every once in a while. See? I don't know if y'all can hear that. So then we see Sax. So Sax is talking to the prosecutor lady. He asks her, how's the case going? She says it's going well now that, Tamika's off the case. She's talking about the fact that Tasha was going to take the plea deal and everything. I feel like I'm rushing through this, and I'm pretty sure I am rushing through this, but because I'm tired right now. So then we see Lauren. So Lauren is meeting up with Tariq. And she said that she met up with him because the professor asked her to, because they're willing to give him a second chance about, with this whole book thing. And he said he did read the book. And when he was talking about the book, I'm like, wow, that book is kind of mirroring your life, huh? Because you shot your daddy. And I feel like this whole series is going to be a redemption of Tariq. I mean, at first I wasn't here for it, but I guess it's okay. So then we see Sax. So Sax is out there knocking on the window for Tariq. So he asked Tariq, why didn't Tasha take the deal that he and Tamika got for her? So Sax tells Tariq that he can help her, but Tasha has to tell who actually shot James. I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. So then we also see Tariq. So Tariq goes back to the dorm. He asks Zeke, and he uses social media. So on his social media, he gets on there, and he's thanking Davis for taking his case, which Davis hadn't taken his case. So then we also do see him talking to Oliver, Jabari, and that other woman about the book. And then to wrap this episode up, Davis. So Davis' phone starts to blow up because of Tariq's social media post. So Tariq meets with Davis. He gives him an envelope of money. Davis tells him, okay, you've retained me for 1 week. So then Tariq starts to tell Davis most of the story, but not all the story, mainly where he's the one that shot Ghost. So he tells Davis that he should tell, he tells Davis that, Tasha didn't do this, and that he feels that she should tell the truth. And then once he does meet with Tasha, to tell Tasha to tell the truth, that if she really loves him, that she should tell the truth. So then in the courthouse, Tariq is there, and so is Sax, and so is Steven. So Tasha got up, and she said that, she didn't shoot James, but she was protecting someone. And, she decided to tell who the person was that she was protecting. Now, for a minute, I'm like, is she going to say Sax? But nope, she did one dirtier. She said that Tommy was the one that killed James. And the reason that Tommy killed James is because she asked him to do it. So then Saxe got up, went over to the prosecutor, handed her the arrest warrant, and the prosecutor's like, well, you know what, we're going to drop the charges. And the judge is like, are you sure you want to do that? She was like, yep. And that's when Saxe says, Sasha Green St. Patrick, you're under arrest for the murder of Jane St. Patrick under the Kingpin statute. And she was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You know I ain't had shit to do with that. Well, oh to the well. So that's kind of where it ended. We saw Tariq doing his paper with his work and Ezekiel's work. He did some research on Kane's them daddy. That's pretty much it. I know this episode review might not be the best, but I actually literally struggled watching the show. It was, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't bad. It's just that, one, it was an hour long, and I just kind of struggled with it. But next week, it should be better. But until the next one, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Like this video, leave your comment, subscribe to the channel. Stay hydrated, all that other shit. And I will see you guys later.